Caregiving can sometimes feel like an impossible struggle. Caregivers may be torn between taking care of loved ones and trying to maintain balance in life. The good news is that it doesn't have to be that way. The Caring Generation with host Pamela D. Wilson is here to focus on the conversation of caring. You're not alone. In fact, you're in exactly the right place to share stories and learn tips and resources to help you and your loved ones. So now, please welcome the host of The Caring Generation, Pamela D. Wilson.
This is Pamela D. Wilson, caregiving expert, speaker, consultant, and guardian of the Caring Generation. Welcome to episode 201, year 6 for the Caring Generation podcast. This year's format is Take 15, actionable tips and helpful insights in about 15 minutes. This week's discussion is how to plan through unexpected events related to health, aging, and money. If you find this podcast helpful, please like it and follow it on your favorite podcast app. Your participation through likes, comments, and follows helps the show reach more people worldwide looking for hope, help, and support for their health, or when caring for aging or elderly parents, spouses, and other family members. If you have a question or an idea for a future program, go to my website, PamelaDWilson.com, click on the Contact Me button, and complete the contact form to schedule a one-to-one telephone or virtual consultation, or complete the caregiver survey. So let's talk about how to plan through unexpected events. If you've been a caregiver for someone, or if you care for yourself, you may be familiar with that up and down roller coaster of unexpected events that can feel like an ongoing struggle that gets in the way of happiness, security, progress, contentment, peace, love, acceptance, stability, joy, and blessings that we all want in our lives. In this week's episode, I'm going to share 5 steps to plan through unexpected events that include aging, health, and money. Plus, we're going to talk about how denial, resistance, or refusal can be a sign that there may be more going on in your situation than you might think. The example that I share in this podcast relates to money. I also share a health-related example in the video and the show article that you'll find on my website page for this episode. Go to PamelaDWilson.com, click on the Media tab, and then the Caring Generation podcast. Look for episode 201. That article also features links to other helpful information. So how does all of this crazy caregiving start? Unexpected events for caregivers can arise when that phone rings and you hear that your elderly parents' electricity was turned off. There was a flood in their home. Mom and dad had a car accident. Grandma or grandpa fell down the stairs. These events get your heart pumping a little faster, and maybe you go into emergency response mode. You think, what can I do? How quickly can I get there? What should I do next? The challenge with how to plan through unexpected events, especially related to aging and health, is that we don't always have experience with things like a hip fracture, a heart attack, cancer, or a dementia diagnosis. These issues can present a gap in experience that can unintentionally result in more problems if we don't understand what we're planning for. In this case, let's say Dad had a heart attack, and he's been fairly healthy all of his life up until now. He hasn't really seen the doctor on a regular basis, and now he's been diagnosed with high cholesterol, high triglycerides, a higher than normal calcium artery scan. Doctors say that he's at greater likelihood of a stroke or another heart attack, unless Dad loses weight, participates in daily physical activity or cardio rehab, changes his diet, and stops smoking. Now, your dad may be worried about all of the health aspects, but also the financial aspects of activity and eating healthier and what he is going to replace the cigarette habit with. So, as a son or daughter who loves their father, all of these doctor recommendations might sound reasonable to you, but you're not sure how your dad is thinking of these recommendations offered by the doctor. Will your dad participate or ignore doctor's orders? So, for this health issue, let's run through 5 steps for how to plan through unexpected events related to aging, health, and money. Because it's true, a significant health problem can cause a chain reaction in one or all of these areas. Number 1 is to be curious and respectful. Ask Dad what he understands about what happened. Does Dad realize he had a serious heart attack? Can he recite the issues of being overweight, in not so great physical condition, having high cholesterol, high triglycerides, and a higher than normal scan on an artery test? Do you understand the issues, and can you explain the risks to your dad? Look at this discussion as a fact-finding opportunity. Withhold judgment and listen to what Dad says in response to your questions. Ask more questions of the doctor and the hospital staff if there is any gap in understanding. Do your best to balance emotions and worries until you have enough information to know more about the situation, what the doctor is recommending, and identify next steps. Number 2 for how to plan through unexpected events is to identify the problem. The heart attack was the result of several concerns. Poor eating habits can drive up cholesterol and triglycerides. A potential family history of heart conditions may relate to the high calcium artery score. A lack of exercise and smoking can impact physical health, cardiovascular health, strength, and overall wellness. Number 3 for how to plan through unexpected events is to begin asking why this happened. Let me say that it's best to be cautious in the approach of asking why and how. The answer can have a loved one feel as if he or she is a bad person because they weren't aware of how their daily habits eventually affected their health. There also may be concerns about motivation to change and cost about healthcare expenses. If caregivers turn the why and how questioning on themselves, it can be easier to see how loved ones with health problems might feel. A few examples of why questions for caregivers could include, why do I overspend my monthly budget? Why am I in poor health or poor physical condition? Why are my relationships with family members or coworkers challenging? Why do my aging parents ignore my suggestions? The answers to these questions, if answered honestly, may require taking responsibility for the results. Sometimes it's easier to avoid thinking about problems until there's no other choice but to confront them. Denial, avoidance, or procrastination can happen in caregiving relationships and in many areas of life if one feels that they don't have the skills, the knowledge, the time, or the energy to solve the problem. Here's another example. A caregiver recently said that a parent with dementia did not deserve being cared for with kindness or patience. Asking why might bring responses like, well, I didn't have a good relationship with my mother or father, so I'm not going out of my way to be kind to them now. Another answer might be, my parent with dementia is always angry and mean, so I'm going to be the same way in return. The challenge with dementia is that the person with dementia has an irreversible brain disease that can totally change the way they act. So their actions may not at all be similar to the way they were in the past. Many caregivers find it difficult to understand this. People with dementia can be agitated by too much stimulation, which translates into a noisy environment, too many people in the house, loud music or other distracting noises or events. Agitation and uncharacteristic behaviors can also result from the way that caregivers interact with people with dementia. An angry or impatient caregiver results in an angry and anxious person with dementia. Sometimes there is information or aspects of care that it really is impossible to know unless one has very specific experience that encompasses a lot of different circumstances. In working with caregivers, families, and people managing their own health conditions and caregivers for more than 20 years, I've been fortunate to have this experience to help others. If you feel at a loss about how to plan through unexpected events, schedule a one-to-one consultation with me. Visit my website, PamelaDWilson.com, click on the Contact Me button, and complete the form. Number 4, for how to plan through unexpected events is to propose solutions to the whys and hows that relate to the problem. There are times when the root problem must be solved before any other concerns can be addressed. For example, if a person has a lifetime history of depression, finding motivation to be more physically active or to change other health habits may be impossible until the depression is addressed. It's also important to involve the person with health concerns to ask what matters most to them. For some people, changing health habits doesn't matter if the simplest course of action is to take a medicine they believe will help. When caring for aging parents or loved ones, examining and discussing lifelong habits can offer insight into why they may be willing or not willing to change aspects of their life that can positively impact their health. Curiosity and information seeking are positive habits that relate to problem solving that anyone can learn. If you are a caregiver or a person with health issues, continue to ask why and to search for information to help yourself, because this can make the biggest difference in your health and well-being. Part of improving in health or any area of life is to change the way a person thinks about the problem. Sometimes traditional, straightforward advice works. Other times, thinking out of the box to try different things is required. Everybody's different. A solution for one person may not be the solution for the next. This is a concern especially when working with healthcare providers who can base recommendations on studies or protocols, which are procedures or a system of steps governing medical recommendations. In these cases, patients and caregivers must be very strong advocates to get needed care. For example, a physician may recommend a cholesterol medication when a patient may prefer to try a diet change instead of taking a medication that might have side effects. Non-prescription over-the-counter supplements plus a healthy lifestyle can be the substitute for some prescription medications if a person is totally committed to make the necessary changes in a short period of time, 3 months or 6 months. Number 5, for how to plan through unexpected events, is to examine the result of the changes that you're making. Are the changes successful? Are they unsuccessful? What else might need to be done? Monitor any changes and recommendations that you make, look at how they're being implemented, and then create next steps. Now, another issue with all of this can simply be resistance to change. So start asking questions. What is your resistance to change? Why are you refusing or saying no? Understanding the foundation of resistance can offer significant clues to understanding why loved ones do what they do or don't do. Resistance can be a blessing in disguise to encourage thinking differently. Pay attention to anything that you resist. Ask about the message in the resistance. Ask about the short and long-term consequences of the resistance, and make sure that this is understood before making final decisions or choices. Resistance can truly be a gift if one is willing to give up being set in long-standing habits and is willing to plan differently. Resistance can be this gift for thinking differently and embracing change. Resistance can become your best friend who is there to ask the hard questions, the whys, the hows, the questions that maybe none of your other friends have the courage to ask. Resistance can be the challenge that releases false beliefs and limited thinking. So, when aging parents or loved ones resist or say no to planning through unexpected events, stop judging and be curious to get to the root of the problem. If you are the person who resists making changes to improve your health, dig in to figure out where that resistance is coming from. Why are you saying no? You might be surprised what you learn about yourself and others. You may uncover surprising answers and be able to arrive at potential solutions and agreements to move your unexpected situation ahead, or at least to the next level. I thank you all for joining me on this week's podcast episode number 201 and for being interested in caregiving, health education tips, and healthy aging strategies. Again, if you find this podcast helpful, please do like it, follow it, comment on your favorite podcast app. Your participation makes all the difference through likes and follows to help the show reach more people worldwide looking for hope, help, and support. I'm Pamela D. Wilson, caregiving expert, advocate, and speaker. You are with me on The Caring Generation. I look forward to being with you again soon. God bless you all. Sleep well tonight. Have a fabulous day tomorrow. And enjoy each day until we are here together again.
Tune in each week for The Caring Generation with host Pamela D. Wilson. Come join the conversation and see how Pamela can provide solutions and peace of mind for everyone. Here on Pamela D. Wilson's The Caring Generation.